And welcome to the Voice Radio with your host, your girl, Marcella Blunt. It is such a blessing being here on a Friday night here at 8 o'clock. I pray and hope everyone is doing an awesome, just their whole day, their whole week has been awesome. This is Easter weekend. People are out here traveling. I pray that everyone is very safe driving. Make sure that you all are driving safely on the highway. It's very important. A lot of people don't know how to drive. So get to your destination, take your time, relax, enjoy family and friends. Like I said, this is Easter weekend. I'm super excited about tonight and tonight's guest. But before I even introduce this amazing, wonderful guest that I got a chance to kind of get to know a little bit, I always like to go into my program with either a scripture, which is I always do, and a word of encouragement. Being a leader takes courage, discipline, and determination. While a great leader can bring great success, it also comes at the cost of being judged and overwhelmed. The Bible speaks on so many wonderful leaders and how God blessed them for their work. There are many verses and scriptures that God spoke about to encourage men and women who chooses to step up and lead. If you are striving to be a leader or if you need inspiration along the way, listen, guys, there are Bible verses and there are scriptures that will help you along the way. And there's just two or three that I chose that I want to read to you tonight before I even introduce my guest, because it is very important. A lot of people want to be leaders. They are afraid to be eagles. Like I tell you, eagles, they fly alone, and I consider myself an eagle. I don't do what everybody else do. I allow the Holy Spirit to lead me, to guide me on where I'm going, and if you do the exact same thing, you will learn to be that eagle. You will fly high, and you will continue to fly high. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. James chapter 3, verse 1. Not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly. So just understand, a lot of times we have leaders out here, and not everybody knows how to lead. Everybody wants to be a leader, but not everybody knows how to lead. And a lot of people are not going to follow someone who don't know how to lead. And it's sad to say, but we have that going on in society now. And I'm talking about in our jobs, places that, where we work. You may have somebody as far as at school who is a leader and not really good as far as with social skills with people. So that is very important. That's the reason why we have a lot of scriptures from the Bible, and I want to read just one more. I read this scripture before. I know y'all have heard me read it before, but this scripture to me is very important, and the Holy Spirit told me to read it again. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I anointed you as a prophet to the nations. Very important. So that lets you know God knew you before you was in your mother's womb. So he knew that you were going to be great. He knew that you was going to be a leader. God already spoke life into you, but you have to believe in it. You have to trust in it. And when you believe and trust in what God has given you, listen, we are all God's children. I don't care what color you are, whether you're a man or a woman. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. And because I'm saying all of this, I'm about to introduce an amazing man that I have gotten a chance to talk to and to get to know this week. And I'm super excited to have him on tonight because, he has taught me a few things, especially when it comes to Republican and Democrat. A lot of times when I look at things, we always look at things one-sided and not look at it in two different ways. We're always quick to judge because of what somebody else is or what somebody else is doing, but that doesn't mean everybody is always following that one leader who is not leading things the right way. So, saying all of that, tonight I would like to welcome the special guest on my show tonight on Be a Voice, because he is a voice. Hubert Owens, he's a native from here, Fayetteville, North Carolina. He's running for Congress in 2018 in Maryland. This 39-year-old medically retired Army veteran is a Republican running in a district long held by Democrats since 2002. If he was to win, he would be the first African-American Republican District 2 for Congress. Can we please welcome our guest, Mr. Hubert Owens. Mr. Owens, are you here with us tonight?
Yes, I am. How you doing, Ms. Blunt?
I'm doing wonderful. Super excited to have you on Be a Voice Radio tonight. Super excited. Let everybody know who you are. I know I told everybody you're from Fayetteville, but just let us know a little bit about who Mr. Owens is.
Well, before I introduce myself to everybody out there listening, I just want to give my condolences to Stephon Clark, the young man that was gunned down in Sacramento, California. My condolences and my prayers go out to him and his family, and I do agree with that. Enough is enough, and we do need more, better police training out there. So my hearts and prayers go out to that young African-American man who was gunned down excessively. But I am Hubert Owens. Fayetteville native, graduated from E.E. Smith High School, class of 1998. I attended Shaw University, then transferred to Methodist after the military, and graduated from Methodist University, and went on to Liberty University and got my master's in theological studies. Then I moved to Atlanta, lived there for a while, and that's when my politics really kicked off. Started working with Governor Nathan Deal. I was very active in a lot of things going on in the Republican Party. And then I moved here to up in the DMV area, and that's when it just blossomed and really progressed.
Well, you know what? And and I know you shared a lot with us, and I'm going to piggyback off of just a few that you have shared with us. First, let's go back to the E.E. Smith. You said you graduated in 1998. I know a lot of people listening here graduated from E.E. Smith. My mother is one of them. I didn't go to school here. Went to school in Virginia Beach. However, a lot of my family graduated from E.E. Smith. So that Broncos pride is something serious here in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
That's the best high school in Fayetteville.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. And when I go to sometimes I have been to a few of you all's reunions, and I mean they party, they have fun. So
yeah, let me tell you, we got the best homecomings, we got the best reunions, we got the best bands. We all, our football team is always picked to go all the way to the playoffs. I mean, people like E. Smith, all the haters who couldn't go to E. Smith. But all the schools in Fayetteville, North Carolina, are really good schools in Fayetteville, and Fayetteville is always going to be my home. I don't care where I'm at or in life or who I meet. I always represent Fayetteville, North Carolina to the fullest.
Well, I'm pretty sure. Well, I know everyone that's listening is happy to hear you say that, because a lot of people who are here in Fayetteville that I have met, some of them have never been anywhere else but Fayetteville. And there's a lot more out here than Fayetteville, but I'm happy that they are here because they are continuing with the legacy of their children also attending E.E. Smith. My son, he graduated from Terry Sanford. He didn't want to go to E.E. Smith. He wanted to be different. But I am glad that he got a chance to, graduate there. But jumping in on the military. Now, I know you're retired in the Army. What made you decide to go into the military?
9/11. At that time in my life, the military is very strong in my family. My sister's right now is stationed in El Paso, Texas. She's doing very great things out there in Texas, making rank. I mean, she's one of the most accomplished women I know personally, and I'm very proud of her. My cousin, who he graduated from E.E. Smith as well. He just joined the Air Force. But my grandfather, my father, my uncles, my uncle, they all they were military. So it's very, I got a very patriotic family. And yes, they're all liberals. I'm the Democrats. I'm the only Republican. So I get it. It's we have cookouts or barbecues or dinners. But I did it because I wanted something for my country. And at that time in my life, I was in my 20s. I didn't know which direction I was going in. And I said, you know what? I'm going to join the military. And I'm glad that I did because it gave me the structure and it gave me the determination to do what I'm doing now. I mean, I always want to be in politics, but now when I got in the military and got out the military, that really made me see how really politics play a very big deal in our lives, and how I didn't like how politicians were playing with veterans' transitioning needs and concerns, and that's one of my reasons. But I joined the military because I want to contribute to something to my country besides being a taxpayer.
Right. And you know what? The military, one thing about it, I respect the military and all military. My father was also in the Army. I have uncles that retired also from the Army. My cousin, I had him on a couple of weeks ago, dealing, in the Army. Well, no, he retired Air Force. I believe it was Air Force. I know he was in two different ones, but I think it was Air Force that he retired. However, I really respect the military because they do so much for us. When we're home sleeping, they're out there fighting for us, for our country, and it's amazing that you are a voice for that, because a lot of people who have been in the military are afraid to really be a voice, especially things that are going on. I know you say that, well, not say, I know you are a Republican, and, a lot of people are having a lot of problems when it comes to people nominating Bush. I mean, not Bush, Trump, and having Trump in office right now, and there's a lot of Republicans who are not happy with some of the things that he's doing. Race is one of them, the way he talks down to minorities, not just minorities, women. He's very disrespectful towards women, and it's to the point that a lot of people are starting to be more vocal on a lot of this stuff, especially with their beliefs, and you being a Republican, and how, looking back, I mean, just sitting there, and I know you're running for Congress, but sitting there looking at the big picture, what a lot of people are dissatisfied about. What is your view on a lot of these topics that a lot of people are struggling with?
Well, I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad you are very well informed, and you pretty much hit the hammer on the nail pretty much when you said it pretty much. Put it like this. The Democrats took advantage of the black vote, and the Republican Party ignored the black vote. With that being said, as a military man, I respect anybody rank, commander-in-chief, I respect as the president, but I totally disagree with some of his views as far as minorities. I'm totally against the whole Dreamer bill. I am not for that. I don't believe that somebody who put their hard work in this country and paying taxes got to go back because their parents or their ancestors came here illegally want a better life for them. I'm totally against that, and I'm totally against. I'm very disappointed how he did not condemn white supremacy in Charlottesville. Now, what we got to understand is this right here. President Trump is known for being a businessman. He's not a politician, okay?
Exactly.
But, right, and people understand that. And just because some other Republican like you said it best, every Republican is not for Donald Trump, okay? A lot of respect his position to call him Mr. President or whatsoever, but at the same time, they're like, look, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, Paul Ryan, and you got like maybe 13 U.S. senators who are not seeking re-election. It's because the rhetoric that's going on. Now, I believe that as far as getting the economy back on track, I trust him as a businessman. But I do believe that some of his foreign policies could be a whole lot better. It could be more professional. It could be more diplomatic in that way. But with me being a black conservative, we got to understand black conservatives have a different outtake than most conservatives have. I'm more about Second Amendment, lower taxes, less government. I'm pro-choice, and with that being said, I'm just as black as any other man is, whether Democrat or Republican. And a lot of people had a false sense with the Republican, oh, he's out of touch, or he's a sellout. When in history, our ancestors were Republicans. Frederick Douglass, MLK was a registered Republican. Some said he couldn't vote. Well, he couldn't vote because they had no voting rights back then. That's why he was marching. So we could vote. But a lot of people back then were until the Nixon and JFK election. And at that time, that played a big part when JFK bailed MLK out of jail. I believe it was Birmingham jail. Birmingham jail. And so right away, it shows that he was for African Americans, and he was a Democratic president. So that played a big part into it. But one thing I do is I educate my people, and this is why I fought for my country. We could agree and disagree. I don't even change nobody's views on their political stance. But, like, for example, I believe President Barack Obama was a genius. He was a very well-spoken man. He carried himself through the White House with grace. He carried himself with a lot of distinguished, and people understand. I don't like the race card, but I don't speak on this. As an African American man, with a Democrat Republican, we cannot be what we want to be. It's a simple fact is we can't be that angry black man that want to go out there and say what we want to say because we're being watched. Okay, it is very hard for a black man or a black woman, whether you're Democrat or Republican. There's not very many of us. The community is very small. I'll support anybody who get on the ballot because it's not easy. You gotta have tough skin. I remember when Barack Obama ran for president, how some people outside of that race didn't want to call him, that's not my president. Now, you hear it now when Bush was president, well, we hate Bush. He's the worst president ever. Then some Republicans say Obama's the worst president. Now Trump's the worst president. Either way it goes, both sides ain't going to like either or. They're going to find something. I'm a politician that want to work across the aisles. I'm not just for one race of people. Now, I support my African American community, but I support all people because all my constituents, to me, whether you black, white, Jew, Hispanic, Latinos, they're all important to me. And I broke a record for having one of the most highest minority popularities as a black Republican from Democrats in Baltimore City. My popularity there is very high. I got a lot of Latino community that supports me. Look at my Facebook page. The Latino community loves me, even though some Republicans say build that wall. Because at the end of the day, we're all immigrants. If you want to think about it, all of us are immigrants. The First Lady, she's an immigrant. Everybody here came from somewhere. So I'm really trying to break that mold, just trying to let people know that just becoming Republican doesn't mean that I agree with President Trump and everything he says. And that's just like, it's like a marriage. You love your husband, you respect your husband and your wife, but you don't agree with everything they say. And the same goes on with, the president.
Well, I have to jump in. And yes, you're right. It's okay to agree to disagree. I get that. And if if we was to take away just the word Republican and Democrat, and we just sat down, we are all children of the Lord. This is how I look at it. I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic. It doesn't matter, woman or man. There are people who are going to have great views on things, and there's some people just going to always be negative. I don't care who it is. I just, like you said, when Obama was there, it doesn't matter. Even his own kind, he's not my president, and this, and that. But what bothers me is you have so many people, when you have someone that's African American, they get up there and they so disrespectful. They always pick the worst, especially a black man has the hardest in the United States than any other race, period. So as a black man, you running for Congress, that's the reason why it's important that you stay prayed up, because there's so many people that's going to be against you. A black man, I admire any black man. I don't care what nationality, what job you're running for, you need to be covered. Because if you're going there to do the right thing, then it doesn't matter. Just like Obama. Obama, used to hear a lot of white people say, we'll never have a black president. You will never. You can't tell me what we can and cannot have when God is in control of this world. That's what bothers me. Go ahead.
Right. And you know what it is? Most people who have the strongest political views are the main ones who do not vote.
Exactly.
It's crazy to me. They the men to reduce. I've been in barbershop. Well, this, blah, blah, blah. Did you vote? No, I was too busy. I didn't vote. Okay, so why didn't you vote like me? I tell anybody right now, if it's not for me, go vote for somebody. And that's why we got people who got, beat, sprayed water hoses, got lynched. That's why a lot of our soldiers are fighting overseas. That way we could have these rights to vote. Because I've been overseas to some countries where some people can't even speak their mind or hold a Bible or even say anything bad about their dictators. So, in this day and age, we really had to stick with each other. And I'll be honest, this is about Stacey Dash. Oh, God, that woman running for office, why is she doing this? Well, at least she's doing something. Because you got a lot of people sit down on the couch, sit down at the dinner tables and complain about something, but do not want to get up there and do anything. My opponent in the primary, she's a black woman, and I know it's the election, but one thing I don't do, I don't swing on to do anything, because at the end of the day, that is an African-American woman. I don't care if she was black or white. That's what I don't do, because it's not easy for anybody, Democrat or Republican, to get out, put their name on the ballot, fund their own campaign, raise money, get people slam doors in your faces, and get badly talked to by people who probably don't even vote no way. So I am proud of anybody that get out there and do something. Now, with that being said, just don't vote for somebody because they're black. Listen to what they're saying. Because I met a lot of African Americans who get in positions and don't go back to the community. I'm in Maryland. I'm going to North Carolina, Old High School, East Smith, want to talk to the kids, Reed Ross, middle school, junior high school where I went to. I go to my old neighborhoods. I spend my money in the community because that's where I'm from. And one thing I do not like is when certain people get to a certain status, they want to forget. They don't want to go back and help out. And that's one thing as minorities, what other minorities do, I hate to say it, but a lot of African Americans don't do. We do not go back and lift up those black men, black women who need help getting up. I got two nonprofits. Yes, We Care Incorporated helps out soldiers who are having a hard time transitioning. It was founded by my wife back in Atlanta, Georgia, to help with homeless veterans and those with transition problems, because I suffer from PTSD. I came back from the war because I wasn't the same when I came back. No soldier in the front lines, when he come back from the war, he or she come back from the war, it's the same again. It's some hidden issues in there that had to be tackled, and some mental health issues. I got another one called Resurrection to a New Beginning. It helped those men and women who've been incarcerated to get out and help find jobs to workforce development. Now, if they are in the system, before they go in the system, in the jail system, the judge will say, hey, you do community service. They will go to my program and we'll vouch for it. Look, Your Honor, let this man go through some mentoring training, let him go through some job career training, some vocational training, and get what he needs. Because guess what? You cannot put everybody in jail that breaks the law. And criminal justice reform is my platform. I don't agree that you could put – it's just about breaking the law. They don't have to go to jail. It's too many overcrowding, and I see that a lot amongst African Americans and Latinos that I'm very not happy with because just beyond the punishment don't fit when it comes to certain minorities and races, and pretty much. Now, I'm not now. If you a black man, you out there raping women, child molesters, or drug. Now look here, now you was on. Okay, now you need to go to jail. But I do believe if you're an addict on opiates, it's very big here in my state. The opiate crisis is pretty big everywhere. I know one guy here. I ain't call his name out. He's a candidate. He's running for re-election. He said, "Yeah, just put him in jail and they drug addicts." No, that's not the answer. You cannot. An addict is not a criminal unless he does something to feed his addiction. But we cannot put nobody in jail. We need to give them some kind of resources so that way when they get out of jail, or before it actually gets worse, we got to rehabilitate that person. Because really being an addict is an illness. And we all got somebody in our family who's an alcoholic, who's on drugs, who got a mental health issue. We all got one. And at the end of the day, across the board, I hate the word politician because everything got a hashtag nowadays. I just want to be a community servant, and be a person in my community and be an example to my black community. And I tell everybody that, Democrat or Republican, go back to the neighborhoods and pick somebody up off the project porch or a low-income area and show them that you care. And that's why my popularity and my poll ratings are amazing as a Republican, because I am going into areas where politicians, both Democrat and Republican, don't go to. And Republicans got the nerve to be like, well, they ain't going to vote for us. You know why? Because you're not listening. All the folks want to do is listen and say, okay, hey, this brother, he really cares about us. He want to keep me out of jail. He want to do something far as these bad living conditions. He want to get some funding to make our schools better here in Baltimore or in other parts of the district. Really, we can do something everywhere. I don't believe in districts, but I know we got to have them. But I'm just one of those guys that I just want to be an instrument to empower others. And my motto is the seat that I'm about to take in Congress, it's not my seat. It's the constituent seat. Okay? And I believe that a lot of taxpayers, constituents need to hold politicians accountable because you put them in there and your salary, your tax dollars is paying their salary. If you could vote them in, you could vote them out. And that's how I feel about that, Ms. Blunt.
You have so much to say. I love it. And you know what? It is very important to go out into the community, and not just black communities, but like all over, so people can know really who you are. And, you know, and I commend you for what you're doing because you are a voice. And that's what we do here on Be a Voice. And that's the reason why I have this show, to help people who are dealing with stuff like this, you know, depression, PTSD, suicidal, people going through rape. People need to understand that Me Too, what Oprah said, that Me Too movement is very powerful. And and talking about PTSD, that is very, very important. So many people are suffering now with PTSD. I had a young man that I went to school with. He had sent me an email. He said, Marshella, you write all of these spiritual books, and everybody is enjoying it. You're hitting bestseller. But can you do me a favor and write a book on PTSD? I said, no, I cannot. He said, why? I said, because I never experienced anything that you all have experienced. I said, a person, that's just like teaching somebody something. I can't go teaching someone or talking to someone about PTSD if I've never been through it, never dealt with it, you know. And like I told him, and like I'm telling people out here that are listening right now, there's a lot of people who are dealing with PTSD, and they need to seek help. That's the reason why they have, the military have places for them to go to seek that help. That's very, very important. I'm glad that you shared that because people should not be ashamed of what they're going through. We all go through something. We've all experienced something. And by the grace of God, we all have to come together. We all have to be a voice to say, hey, listen, brother, listen, sister, I'm going through it too, but this is how I'm overcoming it. Let's overcome it together. So I think there should be a movement, hint, hint, on something like that, because that way it'll help a lot of the soldiers and a lot of people who are dealing with that right now, people that are in the military dealing with this, people that are no longer in the military dealing with this. They go through depression. They think about suicide. And for me to have my cousin on here, one of my best cousins, tell me about PTSD and how he thought about suicide, do you know how much that tore me apart? I get very emotional with stuff because I feel like I know I can't save everybody, but I feel like, you know, if we come together and for him to be open enough to say, hey, this is what's going on with me, it's an eye opener because I had people email me about it. Oh, tell your cousin I'm going through that. I mean, these are people I don't even know. And I'm just like, wow. And I was just crying because then people are coming to me, should I do a book? No, why don't you do a book? Or maybe I'll do a collaboration and get everybody that's been in the military to write their story, their chapter, and do a book on PTSD to help those people out here who are going through that because it's very important. And we need people like yourself to continue to be a voice, whether it's in Congress or wherever the Lord takes you. But I need people to understand that we as people, I don't care if you're Republican or whoever you are, you have a voice. And our voice needs to be heard that things are going on and we need change. We don't need to be really need to be disrespected because that man, as our president, chooses to tell people to grab him by the you know what. I mean, stuff like that is so disrespectful.
And you know what? He ain't the only one. He's the only one that came out and admitted it. You know, what you're saying right there is, this is my thing right here. I know a lot of people put preachers and politicians on the highest morality ladder there is. But we got to understand, those are men. You know, only person who's put on a high pedestal is God. And what's happening is, when you put somebody up there on a high pedestal, they're going to disappoint you. With that being said, that Me Too movement's coming out. It is a very strong movement. And I'm glad it's actually pretty much started because it is showing now how powerful men, especially in Hollywood, really powerful men everywhere. Politicians are getting called out every year. But and especially in Hollywood, when men take advantage of women who are out there trying to get their big break and use their talents, and somebody said, well, if you don't do this to me, you know, do whatever, you won't get it. And to me, that's a form of a big form of abuse right there, because I got two daughters, and I don't want my daughters to be, you know, seen as that man. I mean, I know at some point it's going to happen, and I do believe that every woman at some point has been a victim of harassment. Some might say this harm is flirting, but, you know, I do believe that, and I'm glad that movement has started. And what you're saying about PTSD, that's a very serious issue, and that tackles in with the Second Amendment right with gun issues. I suffer from PTSD. I came back from the war. A lot of them were like nightmares, and when I came back, I seen a lot of things in war that, you know, suicide bombers, blowing themselves up, other soldiers, you know, and some things that I seen when I came back, I wasn't the same. And me being a man is an ego thing, and being a soldier first, I ain't got no problem. Then I started self-medicating. And I tell you right now, tell your story. It's okay to say it. We're all human. Don't let your title and your ego get in the way of anything. Every man is a slave to something. It takes a real man or woman to come and say, look, I got a problem because I have things from the war that I cannot shake up my mind. I need some help. because I want to be great in life one day. I don't want to be one of those guys that can't move forward because of my demons from serving my country. So that's why I'm really running. I'm really running just to be a voice to everyone, and that's one thing that Congress needs to do is be humble. I don't want to get so far my head above the clouds that my feet don't touch the ground. I mean, people see us as pillars of the community. We write bills that affect people's lives every day. Our decisions are going to affect people's lives forever. So I really believe that we need more people out there and on Capitol Hill that's got some sense of integrity. Now, I ain't saying everybody's perfect. God knows I'm not saying that. But when Trump said, I grab women right here, well, we forgot that Bill Clinton. We forgot about JFK. We forgot about all the – I really believe this. Every politician or president did something. Some just ain't got caught. I mean, Clinton got away from it. Clinton would got away with it if he had better aim and not going to dress. I'll be honest with you. He would got it if somebody didn't talk too much. Trump would have got it if the guy wasn't wired, had a microphone off or whatsoever. I really believe, and Harvey Weinstein and all the guys in Hollywood, they would have got away with it if there was not no brave women out there to step up and say, hey, this happened to me, and I felt violated. And one thing I don't like is disrespecting women. You know, and one thing I don't like is if a woman says no in any kind of way, hey, you harassing me, no, don't do that. We should respect that. Like I said, I came from a single mother, and I got 2 daughters. And one thing I always tell a young black man, I tell anybody, when a woman says no, it means no. Stop means stop, you know. So I'm very glad that this movement is going on. I tell everybody, I ain't a typical politician or Republican. You know, I'm more like I said, I want to be an example, and I hope everybody out there supports me because we need some more men of some kind of integrity. We don't want no real, ain't no man's perfect, but we need somebody out there who's going to be a voice and say, hey, I'm tired of seeing black men get shot. Let's write a bill, federal bill with mandates, where it mandates that these police officers get training. It'll be a federal law, not just a state law, but a federal law. Why? Because Congressman Owens is tired of seeing African-American men. Now, I ain't playing the race card, but I'm just being truthfully about it. Okay, now, we just had a boy in Parkland who just went in there and shot some people, and, okay, we had one guy who had a gun with a cell phone. He got shot 20 times. Okay, Dylan Roof shot 9 people in South Carolina.
Right.
He's still living. He didn't get shot 20 times by police. They started getting him Burger King and McDonald's and him watch his head against that police car. But, you know, I don't care if a black man was breaking into cars or whatsoever. He should not have been shot 20 times. That was a 6 or 4. Now,
exactly.
I do get my cops out there a lot. I do praise all the good cops out there. Ladies and gentlemen, you hear from me. All police officers are not bad. We can't judge one because all of them because of a few bad apples. But what we need to do is just how they're being trained. There should be more training before you get that gun. There should be more training on how to use the gun. It should be more training on racial profiling. Instead of doing more criminal background checks, we need people who are more racial, who are more biased, who are prejudiced in any kind of way. Every black man or every Latino or Jew or Arabic is not a terrorist or a gang member. So when I get an officer, I'll make sure it's a mandate that it be some a very, very crucial training on how you handle your gun. But our cops out there, I know some great cops, and I met a lot of great cops out there whose lives are out there every day who are in danger. And I thank God and I thank all my fellow first responders out there who are following the rules and who are doing a great job and protecting the community.
Well, and you are right about that, especially when it comes to not all cops are bad. I mean, it doesn't matter which occupation you're in. There are going to be some people who are good and some people who are not going to be so good. But you hit on something that has touch me. I get emotional about this because it's to the point that it's like really ticking me off. And when I say it's ticking me off, in the school system, they have a lot of people are being bullied. A lot of people they get bullied to the point where they're suicidal and they don't mind taking other people with them. And that being said, with all of this killing, these innocent children, Jesus Christ, who are being taken away, because of, whatever these people are going through, and because a lot of people don't realize, a lot of people who are bullied, there's things that are going on in their own household with their parents and everything like that that's causing them to go to school to act a certain way, as well as people at school bullying them. But Trump talks about giving teachers guns in the school system. I do not agree with that, because you're going to have some teachers who are going to be so afraid. A black male, go up and say something, they just get scared and just start shooting. I just don't feel like that should be something that should be brought into a school. They already have, what do they call, SROs or whatever there,
right,
and they're already armed. So why in the world would you give a teacher, and first off, and I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. A lot of teachers, if you're afraid of these children, do not teach, because some of these kids.
True. Yes.
And I'm serious, because some of these kids out here, they are just as harmless, but because they're so scared, they don't need to be teaching. I hate to say it, but I used to do substitute teaching, and not one of those children intimidated me. And I loved them all. And I used to deal with some of them that was off the chain, some of them in gangs, and they was always so nice to me. And hey, y'all listen to her, and this, and that. And I never had a problem. But now they're talking about bringing guns. What is your outlook on this decision?
Now, getting teachers with gun, I got philosophy with that, and I was in the military. I was infantry, on the front line of things. And one thing about it is a paranoid or scared person is very negligent and very dangerous. If you give a paranoid person a gun, they're going to shoot anybody. A scared person is going to shoot you for I see some scared people shoot people and then they had it in them. But I will say this right here. I made a statement, a press release about that, especially here in Maryland, where a school was shot. Well, he shot two students, for the cop shot him. And I don't agree with teachers having guns, because they got enough stress already teaching for nothing, for little pay. What I will say is increase metal detectors. Every school has metal detectors now. Everyone. See-through book bags or no book bags. See-through book bags or no book bags. Also, we got a lot of veterans out here who want to serve and protect. Why don't we have veterans out there that could protect our schools? With that being said, with mental illness, because I work with mental illness here in Baltimore and in Anne Arundel County here in Maryland. And the thing about mental illness is you got people that go between the cracks of the system. Now, just think about it. Every mass shooting we had so far, starting with Dylan Roof, there probably some more, I can't name them all because we had quite a few. A lot of them were not with semi-automatics. Some were just with handguns. Some they had, and none of them had no criminal record. Where did these little high school kids and these people get a gun from? If they didn't buy it from the store, or they didn't buy it to get a permit or a license, they got it from the streets. So I believe that is it a gun problem, mental health problem? Because something had to snap in your mind to wake up and say, hey, I'm finna go to Walmart and shoot Walmart up, or I'm finna go on Starbucks and shoot up Starbucks. That gun cannot kill nobody unless you have some bad intent to do something with that gun. I think it's a mental health issue more than anything, because I'll be honest with you. I know some people who ain't got no background and who ain't got no mental issues that we all know of, because we really don't know who got a mental issue nowadays. and are more paranoid and reckless with a gun. Now, with the schools, I don't believe teachers should have guns. I believe increased security by uh, metal detectors, increase the school security. But
Yes.
with that being said, it's kind of a hard topic to try to regulate madness because if somebody's gonna do some harmful intent, well, I ain't got a gun, but I got a blade, I got a knife. Hey, I get to drive through my car through a crowded parking lot. But we just living in bad times nowadays. The Bible speaks about this, and we're living in a time now to where things ain't going to get better; it's going to get worse. And like you said earlier, we gotta stay prayed up, and that's what I do every day when I step out there because everybody don't hear my message. I got some Republicans out there that do not like me at all. I got the Democrats that don't like me at all because when you speak the truth and when you try to speak healing and when you try to speak some kind of refuge to help the community out, all communities, the enemy doesn't like that. The devil don't like that. So he'll do anything he can to stop you. But we just really got to pray for our children before they walk out the house and before they go to school because no mother or father should wonder if their child going to come back after they drop them off from school or when they're going to get off the school bus. And I got two daughters in school. I got a 6-year-old and I got a soon-to-be 15-year-old. And I'm scared, and they're girls. And I'm scared. So, with that being said, teachers with guns, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't disagree with that a little bit. I'm not quite sure. I don't know about that one.
That shouldn't
No.
happen at all. It shouldn't because then it'll be more going on in the schools, and then people wouldn't be focused on what they're there to do. Even
Right.
if they have like an extra, like an assistant for the teachers, if some of the teachers are scared, put an assistant in there. It's just
Right.
like you said. I like the metal detectors. We already have SROs or whatever they're called. I don't know. Excuse me if I'm not pronouncing it correctly if somebody's listening. But anyways, they do have them in there, and so they're already armed. So I don't believe that we need anything else, and I do believe the metal detectors and stuff like that. But they also need to put things in place more for our homeless people.
Right.
One thing that bothers me is to see a homeless person because not all homeless people. I'm gonna tell you something. Not all homeless people are on drugs and this and
Right.
that. They're homeless because of loss of jobs, and they just lost everything.
And
The way the economy
we are
is.
all right. We are all one paycheck away from being homeless. Believe it or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And you know what? I'm going to say that too because in Baltimore, I'm doing some development. Baltimore, if you've ever been to Baltimore, it's a very sad city.
Yes.
It's filled with beautiful people. I love the
Mm-hmm.
people here in Maryland. The people in Baltimore, they're good, but they've been so mistreated by their city officials and state officials. Nice and people. When I first got here, yes, I thought I was in the scene of The Wire. Some neighborhoods, I said, "Hey, Marlo and Omar's in this part from The Wire," and it got some hoods just like that. But it's some of the most nicest people. But they've been politically abused. And what I say is, instead of having all these abandoned buildings, why don't we redevelop them? And I ain't talking about gentrification, because I'm against gentrification, because it's controlled by the masses and the corporate, and it pushes out all the small town mom and pop stores that we can't pass down to our kids to continue the legacy. But with that being said, why don't we sell these? It's called like selling for $1, but you got to remodel them. But why don't we get some developers across the country and build up Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, and clean the water? Like, I can't get nobody do with their money, but I hear like Beyonce giving millions of dollars to clean up Africa water. Really? Well, how about Flint, Michigan? They're drinking dirty water. Look at Chicago. Their kids need water. Look at all. We got to take care of home first. And you're right. Every person is not a drug addict. Like I said, if 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 I wasn't running for office or mentally retired, I'd be one check away from being homeless. And people got to realize in power, just because you got it doesn't mean everybody else have it. I know I hear some hardcore Republicans saying, put on your boot scraps and get to work. What if they don't have boots? You know, we got to provide people the tools they need. And it's not about being Democrat or Republican. It's about somebody who's been there before, who didn't grow up, whose mother couldn't afford a car, who mother, had to work hard to provide for her children. I'm just glad that I'm in a place now to where I can do something about it. Like you said, I'm a voice. I want to help the homeless people out, get these jobs, protect our school right. Those homeless people, because guess what? They could be security guards. They could be a lot of things. But I just feel like we push a lot of what I call the people that we think not important. They are important, like the homeless veterans, homeless people in general. I believe that if we got bonds for war, we could at least feed the poor or something. That's the way I see it. I mean, that's just me. I'm not speaking as a human being here, not as a politician. I believe that we need more people in office who's going to actually do something for the people that vote for them instead of coming around once every 2 or 4 years, because that's one thing I really hate. And I know it happens in all neighborhoods in both parties, Republican and Democrat. Some people right now in Fayetteville or anywhere here in Maryland or anywhere in the country right now probably don't know who the city councilman is or probably don't even know who the state official is. You know why? It's not their fault. It's the politician's fault because they're not out there being seen. You might see them pass out little door knockers or put their signs on the road or put in your yard, but where are they the rest of the time in office? And that's what I really want to say with that. But I do agree with you with the homelessness. It's a lot of things we could do to end homelessness. There's a lot of things that we could do to help soldiers out from being homeless coming back from the war. There's a lot of things we could do as far as gun regulation. It got to be something. If we could put a man on the moon, we could at least stop people killing each other. It got to be something got to be done with police brutality. Something got to be done with immigration laws. I don't believe that somebody 40 years old being here since they all their lives got to go back because their mom and dad didn't know the proper procedures. Oh, I disagree with that. So. Yeah. I told you it's a dream. Yeah, it's
the
crazy.
The thing about it is, breaking up families. If they've been over here, this is not like you said before. We're all immigrants. This is not our land. So,
no.
And now that we're all here, whoever's here needs to stay here, and they don't need to send them anywhere. They need to stay here with their families. If they're not doing anything and they're living their life to the fullest, let them be. All we're doing is just making things more worse than it is. And we need to come together. I mean, I believe God made us all different for a reason. The Bible says, love thy neighbor as thyself. If you cannot love yourself, how in the world are you going to love somebody else? And I'm African American, or that person Hispanic, or Asian, and I think God made us all different for that reason. Don't get mad at me for being black, or you being a African American man, or her being a Hispanic woman. God made us that way. So if you're going to question someone, question God and ask him, Father, why did you make us all different? Don't get mad. I mean, there's nowhere in the Bible that says white people are superior, black people are, scumbags or whatever they want to call us. We are all brothers and sisters in Christ. We're not supposed to see any color. If only eyes can really see and ears can really hear. I have heard the voice of God. I have seen visions of angels. I have seen how you look when you go to the other side. The skin color is not the skin color that we are. We're not black. We're not white. The Bible says when you die, you don't even know your loved ones. Want to know why? Because they're not the color that you see them, that you have seen them. And that's the reason why I tell people, open up your spiritual eye and be able to really see. Open up your ears and really hear the voice of the Lord. If you do, you will learn to change your ways and the way you think and the way you act, and you wouldn't say or call that person an N-word or call that person this and that. You will learn to respect them, because at the end of the day, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess, because we have to answer for the things that we all do. So I just want to say, I'm so grateful having you on with us tonight. I know we have about 5 minutes left, but I want to leave the show tonight, you talking about how people can help with your campaign, how people can reach out to you. I personally want to say thank you so very much for being on the show here with me tonight on Be a Voice. You are a voice. You are a voice for our nation. And when you do make Congress, please remember to continue to be a voice and represent us here at Be a Voice Radio.
Well, always, always. I never forget where I came from. And we call and say, hey, yo, can you be on my show? Absolutely. I do. Hey, always. I'll always be a help to you and your show. And if you need me, just let me know. But people like go to my website, my Kim website. You could donate, read my platform, do whatever. Maybe you could donate. That's like $5, $10, $20, and that's it. If it's a donate campaign, they'd be like hundreds or thousands. No, that's not how it works. Most campaigns that's like $10, $20, $15, and that's it. It's at www.hubertowens.com. It's HUBERTOWENS.com. www.hubertowens.com. And thank you so much for the show. And if y'all had any questions for me, put it on my website. Put some comments on there. But I have questions about immigration. Now, one thing about immigration, I do believe this, though. If you're going to come here, you can at least get legalized and pay some taxes. Now, it's just like somebody staying in your house for free and not paying you no rent. Now, I do believe this. Now, if you want to stay here, you got to contribute. But I believe anybody is welcome to the United States. Anybody here can get the golden opportunity. Everybody here is equal. I love all people. We're all God's people. And I just thank God for all my listeners out there. Thank you for giving me a chance. Shout out to Fayetteville, North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham, Atlanta, Charleston, South Carolina, my new home, Maryland. I love everybody in the United States who's listening. God bless.
Thank you so much again, and thank you so much for being on Be a Voice Radio. This is your girl, Marcella Blunt, and you all know how to reach me. You can go to my website, marcellablunt.com. You can also email me at beavoice28@yahoo.com if you would like to be on the show or thinking about hosting your own show on my station. Please reach out to me. Super excited once again having you. Next Friday, we will be back on Be a Voice. I will have the rest of my co-authors from the Be a Voice collaboration. That we hit bestseller in 3 categories. Yay! But thank you so much again, Mr. Owens, and you be blessed.
No problem.
And we're going to go ahead and speak life into this campaign and speak life, you going further than what you ever imagined. And thanks again, and you all be blessed, and happy Easter, and have a good night.
All right. Good night.